Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Sports Bandits. I'm Austin, this is Brian, and we'll be talking about sports today. Brian?
This week there's not quite as many really big marquee games as there were last week, but there are a lot of games this week that teams that are maybe kind of the sleepers in their conferences can look to kind of step out this week. And I really think that there's some really important games for some teams this week. But first off, let's start out with a little discussion. We're going to talk about whether we think Boise State's season and a chance at a national championship is done now that Virginia Tech lost to James Madison last week. Austin, what do you think?
I think they still have a chance. Granted, it is hurt, and I recognize that. But the thing is, Virginia Tech hasn't lost an ACC game yet. They can still very well win the ACC. And also, Boise has a game coming up next week against Oregon State, who very well has a shot from a lot of teams to make the Rose Bowl or get to the Pac-10's bid, with USC being on suspension. So in reality, Boise State still has a fair chance to have beaten two BCS conference champions by the time the season's over. They're still ranked number 3. They're still right there. Obviously, if Alabama and Ohio State go undefeated, there's no question they'll be the ones playing for it in the end. But I don't see that happening. I think they still have a legitimate shot at making the national title if they continue to win, and they win big.
I don't think that Boise State has a very good chance of making it to the national championship anymore. I think they really needed a marquee win or two. Virginia Tech was definitely that win, but now that win has been very much discounted by Virginia Tech's loss last week. And I really feel that for Boise State to even have a chance to go, there would be multiple teams that would need to lose, and which Boise State needed anyway. But I also think that Oregon State would have to be just killed by Boise State, and Virginia Tech would pretty much have to win out or maybe only suffer one more loss this season. So I really think that this loss by Virginia Tech to James Madison really hurt Boise State's chance of playing for a national championship, and I just don't think that this year's the year now. Alright, let's move on to some games now. Our first game that we're going to talk about is one of the biggest games of this week. It's our only top 25 matchup this week, and it's the University of Iowa going to the University of Arizona. Austin, why don't you tell me how Arizona can win this game?
Well, Arizona is going to win this game on offense through the air with their quarterback, Nick Foles. He has an 83% completion percentage so far this year. Arizona has the 10th best passing offense in football, and they're going to have to beat a pretty good Iowa defense. For the Arizona defense, Adam Robinson, the running back for Iowa, has been explosive. He has a bunch of yards this year, and they're really going to have to try to slow him down. But still, Iowa has Ricky Stanzi, so it's going to be a tough test for the Arizona defense, who has only given 8 points so far this year.
I think that for Iowa to win this game, Ricky Stanzi is going to have a great game. I really think that Arizona is going to key on trying to stop the run, and Iowa's rush offense has just been stellar so far this year. And I really think Arizona is going to try to crack down on that, and I feel that Ricky Stanzi is going to have a really good game and beat them over the top and throw for a lot of yards in this game. And I think that's the key for Iowa to win this game, is Ricky Stanzi having a Heisman-like performance.
Well, that will be a really good game. It is the only top 25 matchup, but the premier game, I think, is going to be out in Lubbock. Texas Tech hosts the Texas Longhorns. Remember the last time they came here, they had just an amazing game ending with Michael Crabtree catching that touchdown with just 3 seconds left in the game. And we should have another good game on hand. I think for Texas Tech, obviously, for years now, it's been their passing game that will decide the game. And that's the same here. Taylor Potts, who leads the 11th ranked pass offense in the nation at Texas Tech, he's going to have to lead their team. He's going to have to be their offensive life force. And for their defense, I think they need to step up, put 7 or 8 guys in the box, and try to stop their run game and force Garrett Gilbert-Gottfried to pass the this is his first year starting. He had some experience in the national championship, but now he's going to be playing at a very hostile road crowd at Texas Tech. Nobody there likes him, and if it doesn't go good early, it could get really bad quickly.
I think that both of these teams have a lot to prove in this game. Neither team has looked... Tech has looked slightly impressive, but they have been playing very inferior opponents. And I think that Texas just hasn't really showed up like a lot of people expected them to this year so far. So I think this will be a very interesting game. I think Texas will be coming in looking to avenge that loss from a couple years ago. And I really think that they can just kind of start to shut down the Tech passing offense And I know it's a hostile crowd at the AT&T Jones Stadium, but it's not a very big crowd, but they can get loud, and that place gets pretty scary at night. But I think that Garrett Gilbert will be able to step in, and he can lead his team, and I think that they can get just past Tech in this game, but barely.
There's people that think Texas would be impressive. I didn't know that. Going on to our next game, the Florida Gators travel to Tennessee to take on the Volunteers. Tennessee played well last week for a half against Oregon and then absolutely fell apart. Florida looked a little bit better last week against South Florida, but still not the dominance they were used to back during the Tim Tebow era. Brian, what do you think about this game?
I think in this game, the key for Tennessee is to do exactly what they did last week and start out very strong. Now, last week, they started out very strong against Oregon, but then they gave up 45 unanswered points to the Ducks. And, I mean, granted, part of that goes to the Ducks for just being the better team in that situation and being able to come back from that deficit. But I really think that Tennessee, to win this game, they're going to have to start off really strong and jump on Florida and learn from their mistakes they made last week and be able to hold Florida off the entire game and just use that home crowd to put away Florida.
Well, I think the main thing for Florida is they need their defense to stop Terrin Poole, running back for Tennessee. He's been having an amazing season so far, probably the best player offensively, and Florida's going to have to find a way to stop them and force Tennessee into passing. Florida has been able to get some interceptions this year, and that's going to be key for them trying to win this game on the defensive side of the ball. For their offense, I think they need to use their running backs and just pound the ball and try to give John Brantley some relief from the passing game. Don't put all the pressure on him his first year starting. His running backs, there's a lot of experience there. If they can give him some time to pass, and they can open the passing game for him, I should say, then I think that Florida will have a pretty easy time winning this.
Another good SEC game going on this week is going to be Arkansas traveling to Georgia. Austin, how do you think Georgia can win this game?
Well, I think they need to use their four-headed running back attack. They have 4 different running backs who have at least 10 carries so far this year. That's going to be key for their offense. And on defense, obviously, you have to find a way to stop or at least slow down Ryan Mallett. I don't know if you can stop Ryan Mallett. He's an amazing quarterback. He leads the 5th best offense in passing in the country. He had 400 yards last week. And I think Ryan Mallett is just an amazing offensive force that they're going to try to stop.
For Arkansas, I just really think that this game is going to come down to who can stop the passing game. I think Arkansas will key on Georgia's run game, and I think that Ryan Mallett will try to go off for a big game here, and I think the key to this game is going to be who can stop the passing game. And I really think that Ryan Mallett and Arkansas, they just have a much stronger passing game, and their defense may not be stronger, but I think that comparatively to the 2 passing offenses, I think that Arkansas can hold off Georgia's pass offense and be able to pull out this ball game.
Well, we can yap about this all at once. Let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's make some picks on these games.
All right.
First game, Arizona and Iowa. Brian, who do you think?
I really think Iowa will take this game. Ricky Stanzi, I think he's a great quarterback, and I really look for him to have a big game over the top here. And I look for Iowa to move on to one step closer to possibly an undefeated season this year.
I think Arizona, they have a better chance this year than they have in years past to maybe make it to a BCS game. With USC being suspended, they're undefeated. They have a very good offense, and it's an open Pac-10. So I think that that motivation will help them here. I think Nick Foles obviously is going to have a big game, and I think Arizona is going to find a way to win this one, 31-24.
Okay. For the Texas Tech game that is going to be played in Lubbock this Saturday, Austin, who do you have in that game?
I have Texas Tech. I think that Taylor Potts, he's played a season already. This is his 2nd season starting. Granted, he split some time last year because of his injury. I think that the Texas Tech offense is going to have their way with the Texas defense, which has been susceptible at times against Rice and against Wyoming. I think that the Texas offense is going to be overwhelmed, especially a young quarterback, Garrett Gilbert Gottfried. He's going to probably throw a couple interceptions. I think Tech wins this one fairly easily, 38-23.
Everyone talking about Tech in this game and how it's played in Lubbock, and they're very dangerous there. And I really feel that Tech has a very good chance of putting away Texas in this game, but not quite. I think that Texas will be able to pull this out and keep their undefeated season going. It'll be very, very close, and I think it could potentially take a game-winning drive from Garrett Gilbert, and we'll see what he's made of in this game. I really think this will be a very strong test for Texas and their offense.
Okay, going on to Florida at Tennessee. Brian, what do you say?
Like I said, Tennessee will probably end up jumping out in this game. Florida really hasn't looked that impressive yet, and I think Tennessee can exploit some of the downfalls that Florida's had so far. But in the end, I think Tennessee will have another heartbreaking loss and give up a come-from-behind victory, and I think Florida will be able to take this one from behind.
Well, it'd be interesting to see how Tennessee comes out after that really just painful, falling apart performance against Oregon last week. They're still both last game was at home. This game is going to be at home. It'll be important for them to see if the fans can come out and give them some energy early to try to get a lead and hold on to it. That's to me their best chance to win. But I think that John Brantley in Florida is just going to be too much again this week. I think not as much as by Oregon, but Florida still wins. I think 27-14.
Moving on to our last game, Arkansas at Georgia. Austin, who do you have in this game?
Well, I have Arkansas. I think that Ryan Mallett is a very impressive quarterback. I think he'll probably throw for 300 and 3 touchdowns. I think Arkansas will win this game 34-20 and probably not have much trouble winning it.
I think Arkansas will kind of just go into this game and be able to manhandle Georgia a little bit. Ryan Mallett, again, we've been talking about him a lot. He's an excellent quarterback, and I think this game could be one of those games that puts his name in the Heisman consideration, maybe. I mean, you've got Robinson at Michigan that he looked very impressive last week, and I would say right now he's my Heisman frontrunner. But Ryan Mallett, I think this can be a game where he can really step out and have an amazing game and just easily take care of Georgia. I think Arkansas wins this game fairly easily.
Well, be sure to catch next week's episode. Subscribe to make sure that you get to see all of our episodes, and we will see you next week.